Hello and welcome to this week on Drinking with Dave. So welcome to season 2 of Drinking with Dave. We're starting off this week with the highest voted beer of last week, or the last video, which was a Smithwicks Pale Ale, which is 4.5%. It's fairly new on the market, so I just thought I'd get right into the review. Since the pour, the head has fallen quite a lot. It's not great at keeping the head, but it's not terrible. It's a pretty ambery kind of orange color when held up to light, and it's, pretty, it remains kind of amber orange under regular conditions. The head's gone. The lacing is actually quite good. This is a pretty hoppy beer. It's not awesome lacing, but it's pretty good. The smell test. Instantly it smells very hoppy. It's very nice. This beer uses 100% Amarillo hops, so for what that's worth, but they smell great. This beer also uses 100% pale ale malt, so it is a very traditional pale ale. It smells a little resiny, maybe. Not like pine, but it has a sort of resin smell. You get a bit of a biscuit and also maybe a mango smell. Big fruity, kind of, maybe a grapefruit as well. Yeah, it smells kind of citrusy, a little bready. It's a very nice smell overall, but we'll move on to the taste anyway. First thing you notice about it, it's lighter than a lot of the brown beers I've been drinking recently, because it's pale malt and stuff, but the hops bring a very nice palate to it. This is better on draft. I've had it on draft in Dom's Pier 1 in Donegal Town, and it is better on draft than it is in the bottles. That's not to say it's bad in the bottles, it's just better on draft. It's nice and hoppy. It's a very refreshing beer, which leads me to ask a lot of questions about their marketing, because this beer seems to have come out in September or October or something like that, and it hasn't been very heavily marketed and that sort of thing. So I wonder if they have got the marketing very well on this. I don't think they have. Started putting this out in the summer or even the spring, they would have done a lot better. It's a very refreshing beer, and it is nice and fruity as well. It's got the grapefruit and the mangoes, and it's got some kind of peach sometimes, also with a little kind of citrusy lemon from the hops. So it is nicely hopped, but not too oily. So this is actually a very pleasant beer. I would suggest anybody, if you see this, to try it. Just because it's something different, and the company who owns Smithwicks, Diageo, are not known for their innovation. So I would suggest that you support innovation in Irish brewing whenever you can. It's certainly a very tasty beer, and it's got a lot of the fruitiness to it, but it's also pretty low on the carbonation, so it's easier to drink. You could drink this a lot faster than you could most lagers, because it seems that the bubbles are a little smaller. That might just be me. Maybe it's just slightly less carbonated than usual. I mean, it looks carbonated, but the mouthfeel, I suppose, is less carbonated than other beers that I've had. So it is good on the mouthfeel, and it's not too oily. So I think it's a fair showing from Smithwicks to make a pale ale like this, because they used 100% Amarillo hops, and they used the pale malts, and it's come out a nice color, and the carbonation is good, and the mouthfeel is nice, and it's kind of a nice all-round introduction to pale ale. If you're not used to drinking other stuff than lager or things like that, you would want to try it with something like this, because it has just enough of an interesting flavor to get you intrigued, but it's not crazy and off the wall enough to make it repulsive to you. Not to make it repulsive, if you were a regular lager drinker or something. This doesn't taste like lager at all. It's a much different beer. But it is a very pleasant beer. So if you're looking to get away from your lager fixation, go with the Smithwicks Pale Ale if you find it. Better on draft than it is in bottles, but I think they also do it in cans. I'm not sure. I haven't seen any of the cans. But if you can get your hands on it, definitely try it. I mean, it's not too expensive, and it's something different. Smithwicks might have been able to capture some of the female, like, Coors drinking market, with this, because it's a nice flavor, and it's it's an interesting little beer. I do suggest you try it. The marketing could have been done better, and they could have marketed this to you know, in the springtime, market to women, probably would have been better. But they brought it out in the autumn, and they didn't market it at all, really. So, what are you going to do? So I'll just do this quickly now. Now, every week I've had people voting in the comments for the next beer that they'd like me to review, because I've got a whole smorgasbord of stuff, and I want to move on to the next two now. Now, since any of the ones that don't win in the voting will be shuffled down the list, and then I'll keep putting them against each other until I have all of them drank. But I do like getting people's input on this. So the next two I'd like to offer up are, first off, this. Now, this is Old Golden Hen. Now, this is refreshing crafted beer. It's made by the same company that makes Old Speckled Hen, and I quite like Old Speckled Hen. I've had a few of them. It's a little sweet, but you know, it's pretty good. But this, here, I'll just read you the bump here off the back. This light golden beer delivers both flavor and refreshment, brewed using the finest pale malts and the rare Galaxy hop to give a light golden color, subtle tropical fruit notes, and a delicious smooth finish. So this Old Golden Hen might be quite like the Smithwicks Pale Ale. So that's the first choice. And the second choice is Utenos. Now, this is a lager made in Lithuania, and it is, I think, 5%. It's very small numbers on here. Yes, it's 5.0% alcohol by volume. It's just a Lithuanian lager, and the reason I picked it out is because it has this little pop top on it. So it's not a traditional beer cap. You actually pull it off like a ring tab. So I just thought that was interesting. And also it said, you know, Lithuanian beer, and I'd never had a Lithuanian beer, so I thought that'd be interesting. So those are the two. The Old Golden Hen from the Old Speckled Hen guys, and Utenos from Lithuania. Leave your votes down in the comments, and whichever one the viewers pick, I will drink next week. Speaking of next week, I will see you next week on Drinking with Dave.